Here's something that might surprise you. Several major lakeside communities are completely canceling their Memorial Day fireworks this year, and it's revealing a fascinating shift in how these vacation spots adapt to change.
That's such an interesting window into how these communities handle disruption. What's really caught my attention is how it's affecting everything from property values to social dynamics.
Well, looking specifically at Lake of the Ozarks, we're seeing this perfect storm of canceled events and surging real estate demand. The data shows lakefront condos under $500,000 are practically vanishing from the market as soon as they're listed.
And that's happening right as we're seeing this unprecedented wave of out-of-state buyers planning holiday weekend visits, even with the traditional celebrations being disrupted.
You know what's really fascinating about that timing? 3 major venues, Bear Bottom Resort, Margaritaville, and the Lodge of Four Seasons, are actually stepping up to fill the gap. They're strategically positioned at mile markers, 38, 26, and 13, creating this perfect triangle of celebration points around the lake.
The geographical spread of those locations is pretty clever. It's like they've inadvertently created these new community hubs. How do you think this reshaping of traditional events is affecting the broader community?
We're seeing some really interesting adaptations. Property owners are getting creative, turning their docks into viewing platforms, organizing impromptu boat gatherings. It's actually driving up the perceived value of waterfront properties in ways we wouldn't have expected.
That's exactly what makes these communities so resilient. They're not just preserving traditions, they're evolving them.
Speaking of evolution, let's look at the market numbers. We're seeing a 15% increase in property inquiries compared to last year, with about 40% of those coming from out-of-state buyers who've never visited the lake before.
Oh, wow. So these changes might actually be attracting a whole new demographic to the area?
Precisely. And here's what's really interesting. Real estate agents report that buyers are actually more interested when they see how the community handles these kinds of changes. It's like watching a stress test in real time.
Well, that certainly flips the traditional narrative about holiday events being crucial for property values.
You know, it reminds me of what happened in coastal communities during the pandemic. Properties that could adapt to changing circumstances actually saw value increases of up to 30% in some cases.
So, if we're looking at the bigger picture here, these disruptions might actually be strengthening these communities rather than weakening them.
Exactly. And the data backs this up. Communities that successfully adapt to change show an average 25% higher resident satisfaction rate compared to those that resist change. It's not just about maintaining traditions, it's about evolving them.
That's fascinating. It's like these communities are writing a new playbook for handling change while preserving their essential character.
And speaking of character, let's talk about how this is affecting the rental market. Property owners who've adapted their properties for flexible use, like adding viewing decks or boat slips, are seeing rental income increases of up to 40% during peak seasons.
So these changes are actually creating new opportunities rather than just presenting challenges.
Looking ahead, we're likely to see more of these adaptations. The most successful lake communities are already planning for future changes. Everything from climate-related event disruptions to shifting demographic preferences.
That kind of forward thinking really seems to be what separates thriving vacation communities from those that struggle to maintain their appeal.
Well, here's something to consider. Historical data shows that vacation communities that successfully navigate major changes typically see property value increases of 15 to 20% over the following 5 years, compared to just 5 to 7% in communities that resist change.
That really puts these current changes into perspective. It's not just about this summer's fireworks. It's about long-term community resilience.
And that resilience is showing up in unexpected ways. We're seeing new community traditions emerging: sunset boat parades, coordinated dock lighting displays, impromptu gathering spots that might actually create stronger social bonds than traditional events.
So in a way, these challenges are forcing these communities to innovate and evolve in ways they might not have otherwise.
Looking at the broader implications, this could be a preview of how vacation communities everywhere will need to adapt to changing circumstances while maintaining their appeal. It's not just about preserving traditions. It's about creating new ones that serve the same fundamental purpose.
That's such a powerful way to frame these changes. Not as losses, but as opportunities for growth and evolution.
Well, as we wrap up our exploration of these fascinating changes at Lake of the Ozarks, it's clear that the most successful vacation communities aren't just surviving change, they're thriving because of it.
And that might be the most valuable lesson here. Resilience isn't just about maintaining the status quo. It's about finding new ways to keep communities vibrant and engaging. Thank you so much for listening to Episode 3 of the Lake Life Lowdown podcast. Make sure to tune in every Monday for new episodes, and be sure to keep an eye on what Christina and the Fran Campbell team are up to by checking their Facebook page and subscribing to their blog. More information in the episode description below. And remember, stay anchored, my friends.